Dr. Rob Kiltz, CMR Fertility. How you doing? We're a couple of minutes early. We're getting all set up, and we're going live in about 2 minutes. So gather your questions, and we're giving away an IVF this month and every month for the rest of the year. And your opportunity, as we're reconnecting, that you can hear us clearly, and just share. Give it in a minute. We're coming on in about a minute, so hang on there. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, always a good time. We're more relaxed, had a nice weekend, and we're really grateful to everyone joining us. Many of the questions and answers are the same, but it's helping us all sort of build our brains and change our minds and learn some new things at the same time. As I said, each month we're giving away an IVF cycle through the end of the year, and you'll have each opportunity, 4 opportunities this month, and we'll pick a winner, and each Sunday evening we'll pick a winner, and we'll then pick a winner from those 4. And again, each time you enter, you have an opportunity to win, and like, comment, those are all things that we need to get to so we know you're there and can put you in to the basket. We really appreciate everyone participating in all your great questions, comments. So again, thank you. And like usual, I try to make sure I get to everyone. And if you're noticing there's an important question that maybe didn't get answered, maybe someone else ask it again, and maybe there's some clarification that we can all have in this process. We're going to talk about inflammation, infertility, keto, paleo, intermittent feasting or fasting. We're going to talk about natural, mini, and standard IVF, donor eggs, donor embryos, endometrial receptivity, and all of these things are important that we're going to get a chance to chat about. So, the more we send it around the globe, the more interesting ideas we learn. And it really is a pleasure for me to be here with you and learning on the way. And Brittany and Jessica, Katie, just to start us off, Caitlin, Danielle, awesome. And Katie Marie, 11 weeks, 3 days, and we're really looking to be pre-pregnancy, early, get you pregnant, and then what can we do afterwards to keep you going and make it even better? 11 weeks, 3 days, wow. Progesterone levels have been up and down, and they do go up and down. I had someone texted me earlier today that it was 400, now it's 20. It's 40. And anything over 20 is good on that. Endometrium back 4 times a day along with PIO 2 ml. Is there a point where levels will be stable on their own? Well, one of the things we're finding is that being on progesterone longer and longer may be better and better. And so endometrium, vaginal, crenone, vaginal, even PIO, progesterone oil, may be needed, if not every day, every other day, or a couple of times over the week. Measuring levels we think is important to continue to follow, and typically we've done it in the first trimester but ignored the second. A lot of evidence is showing that progesterone reduces miscarriages and preterm labor. So I think it may be something that we just utilize more, just like we utilize keto longer, supplements, and really just slowing it down. So in general, after the first trimester, we think the placental production of progesterone is adequate, but not for everyone. And it may be that intra-abdominal pelvic inflammation is affecting the progesterone receptors or the progesterone production, or the hormone progesterone somehow is being manipulated because of the inflammation or other factors that may be a factor there. So I think it is something that we want to watch more carefully, and it may be through the second trimester that you need it. Hey Natalie, how you doing? Always a pleasure. Randy, Tara, Christina, and again, everyone, really so many pregnancies out there. And I know sometimes all we seem to hear about is the negatives, because we get so stressed in this process, and it's natural and normal. We are stressed beings in this emotional journey. So take a breath, meditate, yoga, tai chi, get off the bike, and slow it down. See you on Friday. I'm around this week for transfers and retrievals with Dr. Corley, and always a pleasure, Sarah. And we're seeing so many people from around the country and the globe, and really continuing to make it affordable. You know, $3,900 IVF, which includes the fresh transfer, and $250 for the frozen from that cycle, is still amazing. And creating financing plans for everyone. No one is turned down in the process. And again, we're very grateful. And simply, Christina, the way to get in the drawing is to comment, love, like, just do something so we know you're there, and then you get put in the pot. And our Buffalo office, Chris has been out a little bit, but she's back, and we've got some new docs joining us. Really excited, and we all work as a team between Albany, Syracuse, Rochester, and Buffalo. But this is just the core, sort of on the ground. But we have people that are taking care of people around the world. Atlanta, we're working on with Dr. Verdalis. Dr. J and Alan Boltniks have been working with us in our Buffalo and Syracuse. And really our job between our practitioners and our nurses and just our support team on all areas. And it is very frustrating. And sometimes my financial team or the global team doesn't get to you right away. 315-416-9872 is my Global Connect, and I just pass it on to the team. And sometimes it gets frustrating that you don't hear from me or someone. Send another message. And the portal, the EIVF CNY Fertility Portal, is really your way to communicate better and better with us. And the more we have your help, and sometimes you'll see messages on the CNY Fertility Facebook board about people are frustrated, they need this, they don't know an answer. We have a team of all of us together that are learning how to help everyone. And so sometimes you know as much as we do or more, because there's a natural process to fertility that we're all learning to do better on. And again, so appreciative to everyone. And Jesse G, we are really excited too. And it's like people are waiting months and months and months to get a conversation. These conversations and our YouTube videos are good ways for everyone to learn more about what we are about and how we're working to help everyone. Patience in the process. That is really key to this whole part. So keep going. Keisha Key, hello to you. And endometrial function testing, I'm not a big fan. It's just an endometrial biopsy to date the endometrial lining. The ERA, endometrial receptivity assay, may be a little bit better for a frozen embryo transfer. I think a lot of these are really looking, is the endometrial lining in sync with the dates that you're supposed to be? And typically, they used to be done as a luteal phase biopsy to tell us, are you the right date of your luteal phase? And it required an ovulatory cycle. Today, we're doing the ERA, endometrial receptivity assay, from iGenomics, in order to time when to do a frozen embryo transfer when you're on a medicated cycle of estrogen and then progesterone, and typically transferring on the 6th day of progesterone with a day 5, or I should say a blastocyst embryo, because a blastocyst embryo could be day 5, day 6, or day 7. And all of those, if it makes a blast, that's a potential baby. And if anyone says day 7s never make it, or an ugly embryo never makes it, they're not transferring them to C like we do. And I always say every embryo that is viable should have an opportunity to become a baby. And we can talk more and more about the pre-implantation genetic testing in order to biopsy an embryo and what that really means, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But endometrial function testing, I think, is important to look for evidence of inflammation, chronic endometritis, and treat it. And a hysteroscopy D&C or a D&C may be enough to clear it with 7 to 14 days of antibiotics, Doxy or Z-Pak, and sometimes adding clindamycin, or even being more aggressive with Levaquin. We're even doing up to a 28-day or 4-week protocol and treating the partner also, since these infections may be transmitted back and forth. And we're all just a culture dish. You know, the bacteria and the yeast and the viruses are everywhere, and they love us. And remember, if you're eating a high-carb standard American diet, it is adding more sugar, which all the bugs and bacteria really love. And so I think it's really important to look at that carefully. The 2 biopsies, I'm keeping on the endometrial function testing, and basically the ERA, if you biopsy once and it's out of sync, you got to biopsy again to get it in sync once you've changed the treatment. Or if you found evidence of inflammation, then going ahead and rebiopsying may identify that the infection is cleared up or not. But in some cases, we're treating, and then I see people just conceive from that naturally, IUI and IVF. And so sometimes these tests aren't adequate enough for retesting, but I think it can be very important to do that. And you know, the giveaway is a matter of sort of getting some excitement and interest to that it maybe can be more affordable and accessible to more people. And fertility should not be elitist and just for those who have coverage or have plenty of money. And really the whole process is much more affordable than you think. And I always say put $20 away in a baby bank every day. We spend $20 on something we don't really need every day. And suddenly you'll find in that 6 months, a year or two, you have more money than you even know to be able to afford the baby that you're on that journey for. So keep in mind, and check out Rhonda Byrne, The Secret. Remember, faith and belief, really important in this whole process. You gotta change what's in here and visualize and believe in order to get that which you desire more and more in life. And Lisa, trusting is really important for all of us. And I've learned so much on my 62-year journey of life and in the 30 years of being a fertility expert, but I'm realizing none of us are really experts. We're just simply on the journey. We're practicing, we're learning. Each day I learn more and more and more. And Christina, and we're all praying, and all of us together, it's a community, a village. This is the communication. And when you're down and out or upset, you can share it. Because when you're sharing your feelings, your hurt, your pain, then you're going to bring the community together and help in the process. And Aaron, Melissa, how you doing? Thank you. Yellen, Andrea, how many times you recommend doing intralipid infusion? So fat is what we're missing in our food. I mean, butter, cream, lard, tallow, real fat, okay? Now this is the challenge. Eggs, butter, cream. The vegans are harder, but the intralipids is basically a soy fat. So there are some vegan fats you can use, coconut oil for sure, and MCT oil, but adding the fat suppresses inflammation. Guess what? Helps you get pregnant. And weekly or every 2 weeks, starting 1 to 2 weeks before the process, and continuing even through the first or second trimester in some cases. We often will go from once a week to every 2 weeks to every 4 weeks. And we're also IVIG, or intravenous immunoglobulins, are the big guns, or the vacuum cleaner of inflammation. It's a little more costly, but it probably is a lot more effective. And so look at that, submit it to insurance, see if we can get you covered. We know you're spending a lot on the meds and the monitoring and the process anyway. And we've had plenty of people that have done intralipids, the immune protocol, IVIG naturally in order to conceive and maintain that pregnancy, that likely our bodies are always working to reject the foreign inflammation. And so I think that's really important. So I hope that was helpful for you, Andrea. Cherie, how many HGH vials are needed for a monthly supply? 3 to 6 vials, and I apologize, it's usually the 6-unit dosing, and you get about 4 weeks on the 3, and I'll have my nursing team follow up with that, because that's the one detail I'm not as good at, and I'll admit to that, and we'll get you that answer for you. And check around for pricing on that. There's a lot of evidence that human growth hormone helps sperm, eggs, vitality, and it's all off-label. And so remember, we're giving you information that there's some evidence, some reports, but it's not been tested by the FDA. So remember, everything we're giving here is information that we always want to take with a grain of salt. But if what you're doing isn't working, we're always looking for something else. And remember, so much of this information helps all of those people get rid of migraines and inflammation and depression, anxiety, and changes the gut and changes the whole body to help you on all sorts of journeys. So share it with your other family members and friends, because it really, really works tremendously. And Francis, my pleasure. And Frozen's, fresh and frozen embryo transfer, since we're talking about in vitro fertilization. But remember, at CMY Fertility, we're really talking about natural fertility. And if you're not getting pregnant, this will help you get pregnant. And if you're getting pregnant but miscarrying, all of the natural things we're talking about will really help tremendously. And so much of what we've gone for instead of fresh transfers is frozen embryo transfers. And the reason for that is that there's a lot more inflammation in the stimulated cycle, and all these medications may make estrogen and progesterone levels, make the endometrium more hostile. And so we want to calm the environment down. And so a frozen embryo transfer allows us to do that either naturally, so you can do a natural cycle quite nicely, or with medicated estrogen and progesterone, with or without an endometrial receptive testing. But always ask the question, should I have an endometrial scratch? Should I be on immune protocols? Should I be on intralipids and Lovenox and prednisone, even Humira and Plaquenil, and IVIG, I think, are things to really look at. And there's a lot of evidence, although recent evidence suggests that acupuncture doesn't help. But like everything else, when we test things in Western science, we're looking for an endpoint that isn't so easy to measure. And we're individuals. And there is evidence that acupuncture reduces cortisol and epinephrine levels, increases blood flow in the core. And remember, slowing it down allows the blood flow to the core to increase, ovaries, testes, uterus, and that will allow oxygen to replenish and CO2 to come out. And it'll get the glucose levels down, because that's what we need. And that's why I really support Marie Emmerich. And I'm going to throw out Marie Emmerich, our keto queen. Now, Kiltz's keto is really, really far to the right, and it's bacon, eggs, butter, beef, and it's kick-ass keto, I call it, or the Lion King plan. And it really, really works. But Maria's got some really great stuff for those that are trying to learn more about it and start on the journey. And for many people, they can do simply paleogenic, but I think keto is king, and I'm going to call it fertogenic. And really, it's about fertility. That's what we're all talking about here. So remember, if you share with your friends and anyone out there that all they need to do is get on, share a quick comment and like, and be on their way to also to get into the free IVF giveaway. And all right, Ashley, a pleasure always. And Heather, can fertility drugs and surgery cause endometriosis? Well, endometriosis is inflammation in the pelvis. I believed it's all simply from what we eat and all that inflammation, because it gets contaminated in the gut and in the gutter. And all the medications we use for fertility treatments boost estrogen, and it boosts inflammation in some ways also. You can't take that away. And even surgery can increase inflammation. Although many of the surgeries that we discuss and recommend, like laparoscopy to look for silent endometriosis, that often is removed and increases fertility. There's a small risk of causing it, but a larger risk of eliminating it and helping you get pregnant simply by doing that laparoscopy or hysteroscopy. But ultimately, we don't really know the cause of most of these diseases. We call them idiopathic or unknown, but I believe they're all caused by a high carbohydrate diet, excessive quantities and frequency and variety are all basically killing us and causing our problems. And let's see, do over-the-counter aids, Nakia, do over-the-counter aids like Proxeed and Conceive Plus work? I think that there's enough antioxidants and mitochondrial support in those that absolutely can be helpful. The problem with any of these things, we don't know which is the one that we need. And a blanket approach often is good. But, I work to eat that one meal a day at night, and the bacon, eggs, butter, beef, and really get rid of the carbs. Although celebrating Tia's birthday, I did have some cake and ice cream, and I did have a little bit of carbs. And so we have to celebrate from time to time. Even Dr. K does like a carb from time to time. And so all of these can work. We use a lot of Theralogic supplements, Conception XR for the guys, motility support, we always think is helpful. The Ovavite for women, and the Ovasitol for both, which reduces glucose and insulin levels. And remember, if you're eating 3 to 5 meals a day, mostly carbs, glucose levels are higher, insulin levels are higher, and so inflammation is higher. And so really getting those down will be helpful. Leslie, and relationship between autoimmune inflammatory arthritis and DOR. Absolutely a link. Remember, any autoimmune or inflammatory disorder that we have, there's a link to causing diminished ovarian function, DOR, diminished sperm function. Even if everything looks normal, there may be diminished function that we can't see. So arthritis is an inflammatory condition of the joints. Now remember, there's no real blood test to tell us that you have this. It's a clinical diagnosis. So in fact, I believe all infertility is an inflammatory condition, one way or another. And so simply by changing the diet, your activity, slowing it down, meditation, prayer, acupuncture, massage, all these things reduce inflammation. A high carbohydrate, frequent vegan or vegetarian diet, that means lots of meals, keeps the carb level high and the glucose level high. Lower it, spread it out once or twice a day at most, and increase the fat. Remember, fat contains twice the calories of a carb or protein. We need fat. Our bodies make fat. They convert all proteins, amino acids, carbohydrates, sugars to fat before you and I can ever use them for energy. We do not burn glucose. We do not burn glycogen, is my belief. We burn fat, and that is it. And so by upping fat, it reduces inflammation, even in the joints, and can eliminate the inflammation that everyone says can never go away. And everyone says it's genetic. Well, if we're all getting it, we all have the same genes pretty much. So it's the environment that we live in. We all mostly live in the same environment. It's the environment we put in our brain, the thoughts, the worry, the fear, the regret, the judgment. But most of all, it's what we consume 24/7, 365. Our body is used to famine, 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 feast. And we're meant to eat fewer meals. And we're meant to rest and digest. That is where the blood flow to the gut really soars, and it really is important. So there is a relationship between every single autoimmune disease, thyroid, joints, skin, ADHD, you name it, it's there. It's all Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, it all is related. And DOR is a pelvic inflammatory condition that just trashes the ovary. By changing it, you increase the blood flow, you increase the oxygenation, removing carbon dioxide, you get rid of the glycation end products and AGEs. Look up advanced glycation end products and glycation, and you will learn, wow, it's all reversible. And listen, what do you have to lose at any age? But especially, I see a lot of women and guys too that are younger and younger with DOR, high FSH, low AMH, and guys, their testosterone is tanked, their libido is tanked, and all of these things. And I call it the Lion King plan, the baby diet, bacon, eggs, butter, beef. You can do it as a vegetarian and a vegan if you really separate out the meals to once a day at night before you go to bed, simplify them, cook them down. The raw stuff, I believe, has too many plant antigens and microbacteria, viruses, yeast. All those things are not good for us. So you got to change it up, by the way. Tara, mini stim low dose for low AMH and low antral follicle count. Listen, anything you do that's different than what you're doing gives an opportunity. And we call overcooking the eggs. And high dose, if high dose is only making 1 or 2 or 3 eggs, natural or low dose stim, and usually low dose stim I say is the gonadotropins at the 150 dose, and either Clomid 100 or Letrozole 5 for either 5 to 10 days of either of those. And then with or without antagonist and trigger at the 16 millimeter lead follicle. You may be getting fewer eggs, but it's quality that we're working for more than anything. But I usually will do a priming month 2 or 3 with keto. And again, Maria Emmerich, MariaMindBodyHealth.com, and she has some really great recipes that give more variety, more so than I do. And I know I'm really kind of a narrow guy. I always say you get one mate because variety and sides are deadly for any of us. But mini stim, natural cycles, priming, HGH, Neupogen and the stimulation also may be helpful. 450 to 600 with or without LH in the form of either HCG or Menopur, I think can be really, really helpful for a lot. But if the high dose not working, then you got to go to the low dose. And that's where maybe it's time to think about donor eggs, donor embryos. And remember, our genetics are almost all the same. And we're really, the environment really has a lot to the epigenetics and how it's going to help you become the parent you desire. And always look, adoption. Another link in this whole puzzle. And I know we want it one way, but sometimes the universe is conspiring in another way, and boy, we get freaked out and all of that stuff. KDE, is it still possible to have a baby even with chronic endometritis? What is the next step after surgery and trying one egg transfer that didn't work? Antibiotics, and it may be worth a 3-month course of antibiotics, but at least 30 days. hysteroscopy D&C, a laparoscopy with a washout, and maybe even instilling some intraperitoneal antibiotics at the same time. You may need an antifungal, and in some cases, there may be use for an antiviral. I think that some of these infections, just like Lyme disease, can take months of antibiotics, or even some IV antibiotics or intrauterine antibiotics. But I think that the hysteroscopy D&C and a laparoscopy to really wash things out, do a D&C, remove damaged fallopian tubes that may be harbingers that are hydrosalpinx, get them out, cut out the inflamed tissue, and then add those antibiotics for at least 30 days. And I know people are like, you can't use antibiotics so much, but we're really talking about some entrenched bacteria and yeast in some cases that are not so simple to get rid of. Again, look at the Lyme disease profile and how it takes longer doses of antibiotics to clear that up. And even in one egg or one embryo, it can work. And I've been surprised. I don't have the ability to tell anyone it will work or won't work. I've seen those with high FSHs, low MHs, high dose, 2 follicles, 1 egg and 1 embryo get a baby. And those with 20 eggs, it just not happen. And again, the whys in this process, we don't really have the answer. That's our frustration in the whole process. Hey Jenny, how you doing? And I'm coming back to Jenny here. So again, thank you everyone for all your great questions. Making sure I'm ever getting everyone right, and I apologize. For people with unexplained infertility, usually suggest a fresh or frozen as the first attempt, and why? Fresh and frozen's both work. There's a slight advantage to the frozen if you have a progesterone level at trigger greater than 1.5 or a high egg response or high estrogen levels. For many who have a lot of embryos, putting back 1 embryo or 2 still may be worthwhile, especially those traveling a long distance. And the fresh transfer is included in that $3,900 cost. But the frozen seems to trump them a little bit. And if you're doing pre-implantation genetic testing, biopsying embryos, freeze-alls are the way to go. But sometimes we'll biopsy most of them, transfer 1, and wait and see what happens in the whole process. But we still like to individualize. You may want a fresh or you may just want a frozen. We're here to listen and learn. It still is an individual decision, but if your progesterone is greater than 1.5 the day of the trigger, then we are going to recommend the frozen, but it's not in solid in stone. We are flexible in this whole process. Always a pleasure. Remember, I'm learning from so many of you on this wisdom of fertility, and keto is king. We have so many keto babies, and I'm working on the keto book right now. Kiltz's Keto Cure or Kick-Ass Keto or Baby Diet or Lion King Plan, one or the other, but share your stories with us. And now keto helped you get pregnant, and there's a lot of questions about if you have a high BMI, how does that affect your fertility? Well, plenty of women with high BMIs have babies and don't have infertility. Somehow we're very discriminatory in the medical community about the high BMIs. It's a sign of a high carb, but I see plenty of low BMIs that are high carb eaters also and have plenty of inflammation. So it really is, all of us need to look at a keto plan, an inflammation lowering dietary plan. I call it the food plan. Remember, it's the fuel for our body. It's called the Ferrari plan. And remember, share your likes and comments and share it out to the universe. Again, really grateful to everyone. And summertime, don't forget the Maplewood Inn, all year round. We have great rates, and our Albany facility, we're working on getting Buffalo open later this year for IVF by the end of the year. But it's a great monitoring site, and we're working on monitoring in Atlanta. But your OBGYN can be a fertility associate with us where they can learn more about fertility, help you in doing ultrasounds and blood work. It really is simple. And we're even working on some methods for you to do your home ultrasounds, believe it or not. Some people are coming out with a probe that you can press a button, it'll sweep the pelvis and give us all the information, send it right up to the cloud where we can give you the answers as quick as possible. And whenever you're getting those monitored, try to get the information, you gather it and get it to us, because sometimes it's really hard for us to just get that information from those providers and make it quick and easy for you. But sometimes, even if we don't get the information to the next day, we've done this long enough, it isn't as critical on some days than over another. So, and we're visualizing that everyone's going to be a winner in this one way or another. So keep sharing. Hey, Jess, so excited. I know it's September, but sometimes, like push it that sometimes we can get you in earlier, by the way. And if you're waiting till September, June, July, August, boy, it's here in a moment. But think keto, keto, keto. Aaron McCullough, CNY Fertility, Yoga for Fertility. You can do it live from home. We're going to be streaming more and more from home. But light yoga, cool yoga, by the way. Tai Chi, walking in nature, listening to a really good book to inspire you. And I've just been reading the Keto Bible. And you know me, I have my own sort of out there opinions about keto, and I think it really is, we're really looking to, it's an anti-inflammation food plan. And maybe even the term ketogenic diet is wrong. It really is. It's understanding that it's fat is fit and it's our fuel to allow us to thrive and survive. Everything else just has to convert to fat in order to be any energy for us. And let's see, I have done one IVF cycle ending a miscarriage at 5 weeks. And so keto, keto, keto. Stay keto when you're pregnant. It's so critical. But that nausea and vomiting early pregnancy says, don't put food in my body. Remember, the carbs and all that excess plant material is toxic. Phytochemicals, plant antigens, bacteria, yeast. And remember, it's fermenting in the gut. We're making beer in our belly and it's not good for your baby. So I think it's critical. Low dose naltrexone, LDN. And I didn't bring the LDN book, but look up LDN book, low dose naltrexone, really amazing. And maybe even CBD oil. I'm looking at it. I think any material that reduces inflammation may be helpful. Stay away from tobacco, alcohol, marijuana, drugs. Okay? We want to cleanse the body naturally as much as possible. So, low-dose naltrexone, keto, and slow it down. And remember, visualize that which you wish to materialize. And I know it seems crazy, but this is really science. And the science of the brain is really amazing. And remember, I'm a Western-trained physician that believes in Western science, but I've brought in all of that ancient wisdom that we have learned from in order to create this Western approach. And our genetics may tell us a story on a test, but my bet is that it's manipulatable. Okay. We're able to manipulate and change the outward expression via the environment. And remember, the inflammation in our bodies trashes the sperm in the egg, causes the DNA malfunction that we see on a test that maybe can be corrected if we just allow nature to do what it knows what it's doing in most cases. All right. And I really enjoy the Facebook Live. We're sending out to Instagram and YouTube. And I recently did a TEDx talk. So just Google Dr. Rob Kiltz TEDx talk, Onondaga Community College. And I talk about the human Ferrari. Remember, we're human Ferraris. And you need to be more like a showroom Ferrari. And from time to time, go and tour around the town, but stay off the racetrack as much as possible. And I was just reading an article about rhabdo, which is the breakdown of the muscle cells, which can cause a tremendous amount of inflammation. That's the severe inflammation that goes with excessive activity, exercise, and weightlifting. My bet is the same thing happens at a smaller scale with constant exercise every single day or 3 to 5 times a week. We're not meant to it. Let me get down all the way down. And boy, everyone, thank you for the questions. One way or another, let's see, Justine is working, Will is working, Michelle is working, Ashley, Larissa, Alyssa, Danielle, Marnie, Kelly, Bridget, Meg, Grace, Infinite, Donna. Like, there's infinite people on our team that are working for you. Sometimes it seems like we're working against you, and we are always for you, but the modern techniques of getting to people aren't always so perfect, unfortunately. And I wish we could all do better and better at this, but I'm working at it also to make it easier. Angela, how you doing? Detoxing is very important, and I believe the best way to detox is water, tea. I do a little coffee, fasting, day 2 or 3. It's harder. I do it I put my meal once in the morning, at night, and I get a little bit of tea, but mostly water. Not excessive water. When you're thirsty, remember, you're just diluting the body in so many ways. Don't put in the toxins. So all this detoxing, all this smoothies and shakes and potions that you're going to spend way too much money on, throw them away. Best detoxing is breath. Remember, don't forget to breathe. And the beauty of yoga and meditation is bring in the breath with the nose and smile out. And remember, you're bringing in the fresh air and you're getting out the toxins. And then slow it down. I say get rid of the complex carbs, fatty, a little bit of protein, and 1 time a day. And it really, your body's going to fight it. It's going to fight it really bad and hard. But try a fast and check out Jason Fung and Jimmy Moore. They have a great book on fasting. And one of my favorites, I'll show you the book that I really love, is The World Turns Upside Down by Richard Feynman. I didn't know when I started this journey that carbohydrates are 0 required in our diet ever. Everyone makes like the most important, but we do not burn glucose. We do not. It's not our energy at all. And I will go down with that one. Let's see here. All right, Melissa Moore. Husband started doing keto, trying to bump up water intake with PCOS, Crohn's. PCOS and Crohn's go away with this keto plan. I'm telling you, it's amazing. Remember, when you fill up this tube called the gut with carbs that ferment and cause inflammation, there's the damage. And everyone is getting rid of these diseases. And no more, that most of the medical doctors don't know anything about this. And they keep on telling you eat bananas and more fruits and vegetables and fiber, but it fuels the fire that causes our diseases that we don't even understand. That's why fasting is amazing, because the fat we carry on our butt and our bellies and our thighs and our arms and our breasts and our everywhere, that's your energy for survival. And your mitochondria are always shuttling the fat into it. Acetyl-CoA. Remember, fatty acids are broken down into free fatty acids and glycerol. The glycerol is used to make glucose, and for whatever reason we need glucose, I can't even tell you, I know right now, but if you have a 0 glucose, you're out. And you won't find anyone that has 0 fat, because they're out too. Amazing stuff. So keep the keto going, and I'm telling you, you will see all those diseases go. Let's call it a 30-day challenge, but I'm going to make it a life challenge, all right? Anything you do for 30 days and then give it up, you're going to see everything go bad again. Atkins was really smart, but he took away the cocaine, I call it carbocaine, and then he gave you back a little bit. None of us can stay away from it once we get it back again. Alcohol, drugs, tobacco, heroin, cocaine, carbocaine. I know, it's crazy, right? But get rid of it. It's a life plan, not 30 days, but in 30 days, once you've done it, you are feeling fit and energized and you can do anything. So keep going on it. Share your stories, take your pictures and tell us, hey, I'm pregnant. But remember, when you're pregnant, stay keto. Many animals don't eat once they're pregnant. They hibernate. They don't need it. That's the amazing story to this whole process. I'm telling you, it is crazy, 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 but it really, 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 really matters in this. So again, don't give it up, all right? 30 days times life, all right? So just put the 30-day life plan. There's always another 30 days, but keep it rolling and keep it moving. And once you have your babies, you build your family, you want to take care of your children and your partner and your whole family the same way. Diabetes gone, hypertension gone, high cholesterol gone, fertility, it's brought back to so many. Hey, Jessica, what is mini IVF? So natural IVF is you take no meds and we basically work to collect the eggs in a natural cycle. We're still going to give you a HCG or epidural shot to time the retrieval. Mini typically would be gonadotropins going left, Follistim, Menopur at about the 75 or the 50 to 150 dosing with or without a little bit of Clomid or Letrozole. Many younger women make plenty of eggs and can do that quite nicely. It lowers the cost. It lowers a lot of the side effects. And for many who only want to make 1 or 2 embryos, that's all they want, they don't want to freeze anything, then it's a worthwhile procedure. And unfortunately in this business of fertility, the cost of the medications are as much as a fertility treatment. And so by using the mini or the natural, you're significantly cut the cost. And for many, it may lower the success rate because you add those frozen embryos to the fresh and it gives you anywhere between a 50 and a 85% success rate. So that's real important in this whole process. And I'm sort of trying to sort of get in the middle of this. And let's see here. Hey, Samantha, how you doing? Can keto be negative for thyroid and cause TSH continue to rise, or is it coincidental if the TSH continues to rise and need to increase thyroid? You know, that's a hard one. I've been hearing a little bit about it. My bet is still that the keto cures even thyroid dysfunction. My bet is you're still eating something your body is allergic to. My daughter's allergic to avocados and bananas. And one of my clients the other day was like, that's what she eats every morning, and can figure out why she has this angioedema. And my bet is it's the carbohydrates from fruits, fiber, and vegetables that are getting us. So it's elimination. You got to really go down to you will die without fat. Now remember, you don't have to eat it. You can consume carbs and protein because they convert to fat. But if you don't have any fat on your body, you will die. It's crazy. So I would say that it's bacon, eggs, butter, beef, really narrow it down. All right, eggs, butter, cream. I know it seems crazy, but our variety that we have in the markets and the food industry is selling us is like, boy, you got to have variety. It is not true. Variety, abundance is our killer. And when you go to any of these markets, you wonder, like, do we really need that much? Local farming, your local butcher, grass-fed is best, organic, okay, but I'm not sure we can prove much of that. We're always focused and worried about pesticides and GMOs and inorganic, but my bet is it's more sinister, it's more simple. We are not meant to eat fruits, fiber, and vegetables 24/7, 365. That's not the environment we were created in. Our gut is a digester. It makes beer all day long. The bacteria love the carbs, love the fruits, fiber, and vegetables. They love it. And then the probiotics, the studies show it's not good for us. It doesn't make any sense. But remember, someone's selling something that looks and sounds like they're really, really scientifically smart. But it's a moneymaker. Not that we're not all on a journey to have a living and have an income and take care of our family. And it's not a conspiracy either, by the way. And I've just been reading Robert, I think it's Lustig's book on the corporatization of food and inflammation. Talks a lot about all the same stuff. He's pretty amazing. But hey, Lena, how you doing? Lena C. Frozen transfer happens how far from retrieval? So if we do a retrieval, you're typically going to get your menstrual period about a week to 2 weeks later. And it takes about 3 weeks to get the endometrial lining prepared between estrogen, progesterone, and then a transfer. So about 4 weeks to 5 weeks after the retrieval. In some cases, you can delay it longer. We'll sometimes do an endometrial biopsy at retrieval, hysteroscopy. We'll add the immune protocol, intralipids, Lovenox, prednisone, even Humira and IVIG, and Prograf in some cases. Again, we don't do a lot of testing because we already know the number one cause of infertility is inflammation. If you have arthritis of the knee, there's not a test to tell you have that. It's clinical. It may be we want to do a confirmatory test before we add the really big guns, but if the simple stuff isn't working, you got to go bigger, better. Like infertility, when everything else failed before IVF, we now go to IVF. There wasn't something that said, oh my God, you need IVF unless tubes are blocked, very low sperm. And for those guys, remember, keto, LDN, Ovasitol, Conception XR through Theralogics. And I think slowing it down for the guys, all this excess of exercise is really causing the intra-abdominal inflammation that is not good for any of us. And listen, at 62, I stopped exercising 10 years ago. My general meal at night, bacon, eggs, butter, beef. Now, I don't eat all those at one time, but I really work to do a high fat, very low to no carb, and low protein. And people think it's a high protein diet. It's not. High fat. Coconut oil. Remember, the fuel is fat. You're just fueling the stores so that you can go longer and longer without food, because that's what our body is used to. And so, yes, we love all this good food. It's entertainment. It really is fun and fantastic for us all to get together. But from time to time, if you're entertaining your body and your mind 24/7, you're going to trash it. And then you're going to be wondering, why do I have hypertension or anxiety and depression? Why is my cholesterol high? My gut bad? Why do I have cancer younger and younger and younger? And I'm going to tell you, it really is very, very simple. We're not meant to eat as many things as often, the variety and the abundance. Simple. Hey, Kelly, how you doing? Always a pleasure. And remember, this is not just a fertility conversation. It's a health and wellness conversation for all of us. Keto is king. Atkins had it right, but he didn't invent it. Many others, hundreds if not thousands of years, really told us that. And if you look to nature, look to the eagle, the lions, the tigers, what they eat and how they rest and relax, much more. But remember, yes, okay, we're not eagles and lions, we're humans. We are capable of cultivating and eating many things, but I'm telling you, narrow it down and spread it out. Less variety is the key. Hey, Jessica, Keto Torch Community is a great keto group. Also coming out with keto apps soon. Love them, and they have some awesome recipes you can alter to the Kiltz keto diet. So, all right, I'm going to check them out. Keto Torch Community, and thank you, Jessica. And let's see, debating now doing more IUI cycles or beginning IVF, Sarah H. Listen, the more you do sex, IUI, IVF, the greater your overall probability. Don't give up on any of them. Something will work as long as you do something. Sitting on the couch doesn't get you many things, but remember, you don't hear about many couch potato deaths, do you? It's usually someone that's racing around, drops dead. Slow it down. I don't know the number. People say after 3 to 6, the number goes way down, but like anyone else, even having sex, I've seen pregnancies 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 years of nothing, and then it happens. The stories are there. And so be positive, even in the pressure of the emotions and the sadness. Whew, it's hard, I know. It's very hard for all of us. And we're here with you, by the way. And sometimes we feel it. Oh, we feel it. My team feels it. And I apologize. Sometimes they may sound a little short and they need to regroup, step back, and sometimes just throw out, hey, I'm sorry. We all are humans in this process, and we're working to do better for everyone. And help share it with us. Hey, man, they could listen a little bit better. We can. And we're all learning. Hey, Zicky Z. Me and my fiancé have been trying for baby for 2 years. They say I need IVF, but except I don't get a cycle in a very long time. Free IVF be amazing. You know what? It's a earned IVF for anyone that wins this. Nothing's free. You're on a journey that costs something. So we're going to call it an earned IVF for anyone and everyone. And there's a hard price to pay in all of this, I know. Don't give up. Raina, AMH level drop from 1.8 to 1.18 in a 2-year time frame. I'm turning 28. You know, there's a recent article that basically said these AMHs in women who aren't infertile are not predictive of much. I'm even believing, even in the infertile group, it's not very predictive of much either. I think we're scaring women and men in so many ways, and couples. So all I would say is maybe it's an indication of inflammation. Slow it down. Shift it up. Go keto earlier. And Kiltz's kick-ass keto is what I'm working on right now, and I know it's crazy. And hello, Kelly. Kelly CS, hoping to come from Los Angeles. And you know, I'm in LA, born and raised in Los Feliz, went to LA City College, John Marshall High School, USC, and then went to my crosstown for my fellowship, Harbor UCLA. And so really, we're seeing people from around the country and the globe. It's really easier than anyone ever imagines. Airbnbs. Some people just come for the retrieval and transfer, will work with your local docs or a local RE or a local radiology, and LabCorp does a lot for us, and it sends it right into our system. And we're working on a 3-pack or a 4-pack for the price of 3. And so we're working on the financing and affordability. And you need help. Listen, you got to ask. We're always here to help. Doing something for everyone and anyone. And I know there's a lot of medications out there. People are getting them from around the globe. However you can do it, it's a journey. And everyone on this Facebook community, maybe it's the Facebook or the Keto Torch community, the Fertile Torch community, because we're all carrying the torch. And when it's successful, pass it on. And that's going to help so many in this process. So AMHs, they are not reliable at all. And thank you, Krista. More and more we're hearing that. I've seen so many. I had my dental assistant recently told me they went to someone else and they said, you'll never get pregnant because you're AMH. Her doc said, have you called Kiltz? No. And I saw her and I said, keto, keto, keto. AMHs, they go up, FSH is down. And even if you don't measure them, pregnancy happens. And so really what we're doing is we're working to be coaches and cheerleaders to inspire people on this journey that even as a Western trained reproductive endocrinologist who does a lot of surgeries for endo, fibroids, and even for unspecified, unknown infertility, I find endo, silent endo, remove it even a little bit or just flush it out. Pregnancy happens. And if we're waiting for the prospective randomized double-blinded placebo-controlled study to answer a question, you'll be waiting forever. Listen, faith, hold on to it, don't lose it. Whether it's nature or spirit or what, hold the torch. It's the CNY fertile torch. So the keto torch, we're going to have to thank you for that one and check it out. Nominate Caitlin and Kahal for free IVF. Just let's keep on throwing them out there, and maybe we do a GoFundMe for those people who need help, and wherever it's at. You know, our job, my job for the last 20 plus years is affordability, quality access. And I like to say that we were the first to say, how do you make it affordable? You lower the prices. And $3,900 plus meds and monitoring, it's still more affordable than so many. You can do 4 IVFs for some of the cycles at other places. And we're no better than anyone else, but what I'm telling you, if you look at the numbers, we're all about the same. We don't turn anyone away. We don't measure your FSH and AMH or your BMI and say, oh, I'm sorry, you can't come here. You got to lose weight first or do this and that. We're here to help you on the journey, even giving you all the advice that'll help you become fertile naturally. So don't give it up. And don't forget intimacy with your partner, a partner. It's really important in the journey. And for those of you that are single, we're here to help on the journey of creating a child, whether you're male or female. We have the help out there. So we're really grateful to everyone out there. And Viola, for the labs, let's see, we're required in one. There aren't required labs in the process. We offer genetic testing, immune testing. We recommend a sperm count in HSG. We offer a laparoscopy, hysteroscopy. Look at your thyroid, vitamin Ds. We do recommend looking at those and checking them out. It's really important. And let's give a real good surge of likes and questions and comments and keep sending them out. I'm working on the Sunday at 8 with Dr. Rob Kiltz. And it's just a good time. I've had a great weekend, celebrated Tia's birthday, was down in New York, met some really great people, and always sharing. Angela, insurance for PCOS, ovarian dysfunction is PCOS. It's an inflammatory and a metabolic condition. I think insurance should cover it. Metformin, Ovasitol, keto. And again, I've seen so many changes. And I'm not here to tell anyone that they need to lose weight in order to get pregnant. But if you're overweight, it usually is an indication that you're eating a high carb diet. It's a high inflammation diet. If you're doing the keto paleo and your weight is going away, you're using the fat, it's your fuel tank, by the way, and it's natural to be there. That's a sign you're getting in the anti-inflammation sweet spot. So you know it. Or your energy is feeling better. Your brain is feeling better. It's quite amazing. And remember, get away from alcohol. It's not good for any of us. All right, so I'm going to finish up in just a few minutes. Really, really, really grateful. Keep sending the likes, the loves, the comments, the questions. At the end of the month, so each beginning of the month, we're gonna announce the winner, and everyone's a winner. And remember, hold on to the vision. It may not happen today or tomorrow. And if we learn from yesterday, and I'm learning from yesterday every single day, new new ways. Happy birthday to T from New Orleans, by the way. And we're grateful. We were just down there for our good friends Lana and Steve's wedding celebration, and keep it going. And let's see, one more. You know, I just love to talk and talk and talk, and I could probably do this for hours and hours and hours, but I have a really busy day tomorrow, and I get up early. And Tara, low carb with autoimmune diabetes type 1, 38, antiretroviral follow count 5 to 6, added Adderall, already, and it worked. So, you know, I'm telling you, even type 1 diabetics do keto. It really does help. And don't give up. The AMH, the antiretroviral counts, maybe just a moment in a slice, but don't use those to discourage you. And Tara, thank you for your celebration, and we're praying for everyone out there. And hello to all. And I think maybe next time we're going to start working to tap into some and bring some live chats going on from some of you out there. Let us know what you think of the whole process. But a blessing and gratitude. And Dr. Corley, let's see here. Dr. Corley Kiltz, both do ERs and transfers in Syracuse. Thank you to everyone. Danielle, Angela, Crystal, Lindsay. I could just go down the list. But keep sharing. Remember, Maria Emmerich, Keto Torch. Start with paleo. Look at keto. It's all the Kiltz's Kick-Ass Keto or the Lion King plan. Remember, we're lions and lionesses. Slow it down. God bless. I'll see you next Sunday. Dr. Rob Kiltz.